Good morning, Vante. How are you? How are you feeling today? I am very... I'm a little out of it. Um, I have a lot of brain fog because of my meds. So my brain is not running as quickly as it normally would. It's not... See, I'm already struggling to speak. I was speaking to a friend of mine, and I kept trying to say the words brain fog, but I kept mispronouncing it as brain frog. So, ribbit ribbit, there's just a bunch of frogs in my brain right now. That's all that's in there. Everything else is gone. So I'm very slow. Yeah, it's like -5. It's a little alarming. It's like my brain is running in slow motion, which is not good when my mouth doesn't understand that it has to wait because I'm a certified yapper and my mouth just wants to yap, but my brain actually can't concoct words fast enough. I was in call with a friend last night and I was trying to find a particular word and I just couldn't find it. I think it took three tries to find a word. I forget. I'm trying to remember which word it was. I was trying to say the word inducted, but I ended up saying like instigated, and then it's like, no, that's the wrong word. And I went through several different I words. Babel, you have an excuse. You speak two languages. I only speak English. Yo no hablo español, so I don't have the excuse of it being my second language and having to select my words. It's okay, take your time. I'm gonna have to, whether I like it or not. uh, Aside from the brain fog, though, there's physical fatigue. I'm moving. It's. I'm. See, I'm. Oh my goodness. If I try to talk at my normal speed, I start to screw up. Um, but physically, it's like I also move in slow motion, which is really, really odd for me. I walk fast usually, and I'm kind of having to hobble around. Uh, this makes it sound like the meds are horrible and like they're causing a lot of suffering, but I was telling Babel, I think yesterday, I'm not sure, uh, because the meds are helping to manage the pain that I've been in. I, for like I wear a Fitbit watch to log my steps and my workouts and all of that. And I was telling Babel that because I'm no longer in the amount of pain that I usually am, my resting heart rate has plummeted back down to what it normally is. So it sounds like I'm having a really hard time with the meds, but I'm actually I feel much better. It's just that I'm very slow while I adjust to the meds. How long has it been like that? I've been on the meds for a week. Uh, Literally today is 1 week. I can only take, I'm taking two medications, and I can only take them once a week, and I have to be weaned onto them. So I took very, very low doses, and I have not taken them yet today because I know as soon as I take them today, I'm just gonna crash and probably have to sleep. So I'll do that later. Here, let me swap. I don't know how much drawing I'll do, but I'll try to do a little bit. I have this little sketch that I started. I'm not sure how much work I'll be able to do on it though. Sarah, welcome in. How are you? What did I miss? Not much. Just yapping. The usual. I'm very uh slow because I have some brain fog going on, but I sound worse than I feel, I assure you. And I'm also being naughty and having a cup of coffee this morning. I've almost finished it. It's a very nice coffee. I promise I'm having a small cup of it though, otherwise my doctor will yell at me. It's okay to have a short stream. I know, but I missed a week because I was traveling, so we'll see. I want to do some writing today. Obviously, I can't really do that on stream. Uh, so we'll see. I'll probably spend less time drawing and more time working on that. Vante, I keep trying to get you the next chapters, but last night I finally decided that I'm going to rewrite one of the chapters entirely. I was arguing with myself for a while about whether or not I would, and yeah, I'm rewriting it entirely, so my apologies, it's still a little bit delayed. You found out you're lactose intolerant? Oh no. My condolences. Glad to know you're doing better though, and the meds are helping. Yeah, they're definitely helping. I know it doesn't sound I know it doesn't sound like I'm doing better, but it is a big help. I just need to adjust to it. The dose for both of them goes up this week, so we'll see how I adjust to that. Um, but hopefully it goes well. Where's my pen? I have my tablet. Where's my pen? There it is. You can probably tell what this sketch is supposed to be. I mean, at least I hope you can. And I'm debating. It's not particularly in character, but I'm debating if I put Bronte or someone else in the chair opposite Cyril. I was also thinking, I don't know if I want to do this because I kind of like the window being open and not really obstructed. But I'm not sure if I'll keep it there because I kind of like the idea of being able to see the scenery, but I thought a little lamp like right in the middle could be a cute light source. We'll see. I can wait, don't you worry. All that matters is you're happy with the manuscript. I am wondering vaguely if once I rewrite the chapter that I'm rewriting, that I've decided I'm going to rewrite, is the very next chapter. So you know where you left off at that cliffhanger. And the next chapter, if I end up splitting the manuscript into two smaller books, then the next chapter might be where that split happens. I'm still not sure. I have to organize the whole thing and then look at the word counts to really know. But that is a loose idea that I have at the moment. This is just a really rough sketch, but still. People who think they know better than me about my job really get on my nerves. Tell me about it. That was my work week. I've been dealing with all sorts of shenanigans at work. Let's see here. I think I can just... That's the little table. I don't know. Who are we thinking? If we give Cyril a fellow passenger, who are we thinking? Bronte would probably glance up at him way more than reading her book or doing whatever she's doing. It's true. She's gonna be looking for opportunities to sneak over to that side and be like, "What are you reading?" exactly. His little book. If you've read Immolation, um, at the very start, in like the very first chapter, Cyril is on the train and he's reading from a little book. And this book is not little, so I need to resize it. But for purposes of the sketch, it's fine. But it's actually a pretty small book. Like, uh, it's small enough that he can really like hold it with like just one hand and have his like thumb keeping it open and do that comfortably. So it's probably should actually be higher in his hand if that's the case. This is just a rough sketch, so you can't even really see what he is, but that's fine. Probably about yay big. It's just a wee book. Oh, I have him using his right hand. I guess that's fine. Cyril is technically left-handed, but it's fine. Well, I guess technically he's ambidextrous, but not so exciting though. I'm looking forward to that second half of the book. I hope you enjoy it. I think it's gonna get, how to say this in a nice way. It gets spicier in the second half, I think. In my opinion. Actually, no, it's not in my opinion. It's a factual. See, this is I think the part that I didn't really plan for is that, shall we say, spicy scenes take up a lot of word count. And I just didn't really factor that into my plan. uh, so anyways, we'll see. I'm gonna be working more on it, hopefully this afternoon. I do need to take my meds at the exact same time that I took them last week. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure I will be able to stay awake. That's true. Sybil as a passenger would be accurate. I don't know if this is really intended to be book accurate. It's just more intended to be vibes. But it would be cool to do an accurate, like a lore accurate one. Cynthia, welcome in. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sadly, can't stay for stream because of work. Have a wonderful day at work. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by. I really appreciate it. Yes, drink lots of water, and hopefully I will see you another Sunday. Another thing that I need to include for Cyril. How could I forget? He will never forgive me. It's gonna be really hard to see because his silhouette is so dark, but he's got his cane like leaning against the bench next to him. Sybil, I'm gonna just have to sketch her in and then resize her. I'm trying to think of how she would be sitting. Because Sybil's a little bit of a sloucher. She'd probably be more mindful of her posture with Cyril around though, because she wants to make a good impression on him. So I'll just sketch her in and then I'll resize her after to make sure she feels right. Because she's relatively tall. Obviously not as tall as Cyril, but like she is pretty tall. Florence is basically as tall as Cyril. I don't think Sybil really brought anything with her. She probably just has like her hands folded on her lap. That's like a mannerism she would do. She probably would have her head further back though. So I have hit roughly because okay, so I'd say about there is accurate. Pepper chapters are the longest. There's not much I could think of erasing, but is it really that bad? I don't know. I'm such a poor judge of. I think the banter between the two of them is enjoyable. I mean, at least I enjoy reading it, so I would hope that others do as well. I might ask you, Bante, if the writing it feels too dense, because I think as I've gone on writing it, I've just kind of slipped back into my previous writing habits with like immolation. Not previous, my normal writing habits versus with the secret project, I'm deliberately trying to make it not as dense as immolation. I want it to be more approachable and an easier read. So that might be something that I ask as you keep reading. If you feel like it's getting too dense, or if you think it can be simplified, isn't really the right word, but I guess it's close enough. And of course, Sybil is wearing a veil, so she will have like a draped kind of silhouette. Is anyone else left-handed as well? I am right-handed. not only am I right-handed, but I also apparently, I have been told, hold my pencil or my writing utensil or whatever the quote-unquote correct way, depending on what your definition of the correct way is, versus my sister who couldn't hold a pen quote-unquote correctly and had to use one of those special pens that made it so that you held your pen a particular way. Like here, hold on. This is going to be difficult to draw, but whatever. Because I can't look at my hand and draw it at the same time, because I have to hold it up. Okay, so let's see here. So the way that I hold a pen, oh, it's too big. So this is my wrist. That's my thumb. And my writing utensil goes between my thumb and my first finger, and then it rests on like the last knuckle of my middle finger. I've never overthought how I hold a pencil as much. So that's how I hold my writing utensil, which is apparently the correct. In my opinion, it is way easier than immolation, as it should be. Okay, good. That's very good to hear. Because that was my goal, and I think I've slipped back into my normal writing a little bit, but I keep trying to deliberately keep it relatively simple. So that's how I hold my writing utensil. But like, for example, my sister, I have to think about how she held it when she was a little kid. I don't know if she ever actually fixed it or if they just gave up like trying to fix it. Because I mean, as long as you can write, it's like whatever. But let's see here. Probably should have drawn her arm first. So that's her arm, that's her wrist, and I think she used to hold it. Yeah, so she held hers. Yeah, I'm just gonna move this and draw it in later. It's really hard to do this and draw at the same time. So her thumb comes up higher. And then like, oh gosh, this is really difficult. And then like two fingers would wrap around the pencil and kind of like this is her middle finger, and then her ring finger, and you can't really see her pinky from this angle. And the pencil would be more, well, her thumb would be higher than that, but the pencil would be held like beneath the middle finger right here, and then kind of held, pushed into the kind of meat of the hand, like right here. so that it was being held with pressure that way. I don't know. That's a very, very poor illustration. I could probably just Google photos of people, of like kids holding pencils, and there would be like a bunch of different ways. Um, but yeah, I hold mine like the left. My sister held hers like the right. Apparently mine is correct, but what it means is that I have this uh, callus on my middle finger because of where I hold my drawing utensil because I draw so much. It used to be a lot worse. It's actually not as bad right now because I haven't been doing nearly as much drawing. But as I pick up drawing again, as I hopefully feel better, it'll probably come back. I think I hold my pens the wrong way as well. The right way feels uncomfortable. The right way, quote unquote, I don't really know. I'm of the opinion that there isn't a right way as long as it's comfortable and you can write. But yeah, I guess the traditional way, for lack of a better word, feels the most comfortable for me, and it makes me feel like I have the most control and precision. Versus if I try to, first of all, it's really hard to draw. Oh my goodness, it's hard to write on a tablet for me in general. But for example, so that's writing with my grip normally. And if I try to do it, oh my gosh, I can't even hold this thing. If I try to do it with my sister's grip, oh gosh. Yeah, it's a lot harder for me. It's doable, but it's a lot harder, and it feels I have to hold my hand up at a different angle. That's very difficult for me. I'm sure it's all muscle memory, so it's just whatever you started doing as a kid when you first started drawing or writing. But yeah, it's very interesting. I don't need to save this. Come on, Sai, don't freeze on me now. I still see people write like that. I've seen people who hold pens in just all sorts of different ways. Your handwriting is beautiful. My handwriting when I'm on a tablet is absolutely atrocious. I don't even know if I could do my signature here. I don't even know if I could do my signature on a tablet. Oh, whoops, wrong color. Yeah, nope, I can't do it. The tablet driver just doesn't respond fast enough. If I try to slow down, I guess maybe, but no, not really. Nope, I already screwed up. Close enough. What's that? What's that, see, I don't. It's hard for me to keep you can see already, like, this is flat, and I'm already writing at an angle. Because the way that I was trained to write as a kid is that you would tilt your paper and then write. So I write at a really steep angle, and I usually have to, when I'm writing on a physical object, I can turn that object, but not so much, let's see. Oh gosh, it's really hard to write with a tablet. That's one of those sentences that includes every letter or something. It's really not it's really not good. My tablet handwriting is really bad, but it's close enough. You've signed Babel's book. I've seen it then. That's true. That's true. I left her a nice little note. When I write left-handed, 9 times out of 10, I smudge the ink out. See, look. I don't have to, I'm right-handed, so I don't have to deal with smudging ink on like a physical thing, but here, oh gosh, I don't even think I'm going to be able to do this. This is my left hand. I don't think this is going to be possible. Oh my gosh. No, this is really hard. I'm trying to hold it, trying to hold my pen the same way I would in my right hand. Uh, I'm sure me laughing doesn't help it, but um, that's like I completely did that letter wrong. That's not how you do that. This is painful. I wrote, whatever. I did that letter wrong too. I do the letters wrong when I'm trying to do it with my. Maybe it'd be easier if I printed instead of cursive. Um, I doubt it. It's really hard for me to print with the tablet. Once again, I write at a steep angle for no reason. I don't think I can. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to print with my left hand. I also that's the wrist I wear my watch on, so it's kind of getting in the way. But um, come on, I can't even position it right. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Oh my gosh. That's not even the right letter. Oh no. That's not even the right letter either. That's a J. Wait, that's the wrong letter. I got mixed up. Wait, no. Okay, well, it looks like a P, but we're just gonna keep going. That's just a U, not a V. Oh gosh. No. So I can't believe this is harder. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Oh gosh. My handwriting looks better when it's on paper, though, I promise. Close enough. Are you drunk or something? I'm writing with my non-dominant hand, Sarah. Oh, that's something that I never did, because I took, actually, here, I'll go back to this one. So I never did this when I was in art school, but sometimes in art school they'll tell you that instead of this script, which is for writing, you're apparently supposed to, I'm gonna do it mirrored because that's gonna be easier for me to draw. So it's gonna be with a left hand, but pretend that it's a right hand. I'll just flip it after. There, like that. Apparently that's how you're supposed to hold a pencil for drawing. And I was like, absolutely not. I'm never gonna be able to do that. There's just no way. I think I had one art teacher who really tried to have me do that. But that did not work. Did not work out. Victoria, muchas gracias. Yo no hablo español. But thank you very, very much. Victoria said that they are from Mexico and they are currently reading the book on Kindle while they save up to buy the physical book. Great story, they haven't finished it yet. So, muchas gracias, thank you very, very much for reading. Did any of you have this grip? Did you have like any art teachers that told you to do it? Because my art teacher for like professional art never had me try to use this, but my like high school art elective teacher tried to make me do it, and I'm like, no, buddy, that's not gonna happen. I could try to imagine kind of like using a palette knife like that, but even then. Sarah, you do? Is this how you hold like a drawing utensil? I just hold my drawing utensils like I'm writing, like this. That was the other thing that my professional art teacher, she forbade me from using paintbrushes. So I never got to use paintbrushes. I always had to use a palette knife to paint. We did acrylic paintings, and I painted a tree. I can still remember what that paint. I probably have the physical painting somewhere. But basically the setup was like this. Every morning on a certain day of the week, we would go to this park. And it looked a little bit like this. There was a parking lot over here with like little cars and such. So, cars. Little parking lot. And then there were a bunch of trees. This is a tree. So there were trees all along this area, and there were like walking paths we could go, and then like basically all of this was like a really heavily wooded area. And you could take trails that would take you down into the woods, I guess. And then there was like a little, I don't remember like what it looked like, but like a little play structure for kids, like a little playground. With swings and stuff, like a little playground over here. Some picnic tables, benches, yada yada yada. And then all of this area, all of this was grass, and there were paths and stuff that would like come up this way. And I basically had to stand over here. That's me. And I had an easel set up. And I had my little palette knife because I wasn't allowed to use a brush. And there was one particular tree that was like right here, kind of out in the middle of the lawn. With nothing from this angle that I was at, there was nothing really behind it other than kind of like this hill. So it was a relatively simple subject to paint. But what it meant is that all the kids who were going to the playground usually walked by me. And so I would basically have to stand here and be painting this tree like for 4 weeks. We'd go there at like 11 a.m. so the shadows were always the same. That's the sun. But it meant that all these little kids would just constantly walk by me and be like, "What are you doing?" Not really sure. I think I might have tried it on my own, but I don't remember anymore. What? No brushes? That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why it was her rule, but it was her rule. That's cool. I mean, it's like any other skill. You can learn to hold your utensil a certain way, and with practice you'll be able to use it. But yeah, I was really surprised. I don't know if Heaven's here today, but in a previous stream, I was telling Heaven about that book that I read as a kid and studied as a kid, um, drawing drawing the clothes figure is what that book was about. And in that book, it talks about holding your utensil, um, holding your utensil like this. And the reason that I can remember that it talked about that is because the illustration that it gives for like teaching you how to hold your pencil or whatever utensil like that is like, imagine that there is a little puppy. That's not symmetrical, whatever. Imagine there is a little puppy. And you hold your hand in a manner as you draw something, as if you are like petting the puppy's head, and you're like scooping your hand around the little puppy. That's the illustration that they gave. I love watching people move, whether it's walking, running, or going about their lives. Yeah, I remember doing lots of gesture drawing. I did a lot of that when I was in college as part of the art classes I took there. Um, that professor also kind of sucked. It's just the way it is. But yes, for this picture sketch thing, what I'd like to do, and the way that I've actually got it broken down right now, which you won't be able to tell from, I have my layers hidden off to the side of the screen that you can't see. Um, but basically, what I would like to do is have this be animated, so the scenery in the window will move by as they travel. I think it'd be really, really cute to have like a little animation where they're both riding the train and you can just see some pretty scenery going by. Obviously, if Cyril gets a cup of tea, then Sybil will also get a cup of tea. Here, maybe I should fix that. Oh, whoops. Let's get that out of there. There we go. There. Technically, those should both be mirrored, but whatever. There. Ah, the scene in the beginning. Yes, I would like to animate it. I think it's one of my favorite scenes, so draw like you're caressing the puppy. I know, isn't it so cute? My grandfather helped me with my art. That's very sweet. That's lovely. Oh, I guess I should sketch in a little bit more of. But yeah, so imagine this as a little animation where the scenery in the window like travels by and these little lanterns and everything kind of sway around and everything kind of moves like it's on a train, and I think it'd be really cute. Um, I thought briefly about making it like a really long looping animation, like an hour or something, and having music like just like chill ambient music in the background and having that up on my YouTube. But I would have to license all of the music needed to do that, which could be very expensive. So I'm not sure if I'll do it. I think it would be a fun little project to have up on the channel, but who knows? We'll see. That would be awesome with the moving train. Yeah, I think it'd be really cute. And it'd be nice to have uh, see, I told you my meds are making my brain not work. Um, Gosh, it'd be nice to have some really interesting lighting and movement in the scene. Um, and I have that little um, playlist of kind of like religious sounding, quiet, soft music that I play sometimes on streams. I would have to look into what it would be like to license that from that other channel. Um, but I don't know. I thought it could be cool and just a little something fun to have on the YouTube channel. I have several lore videos and speed paints that I want to put up on the channel as well, but I need a higher quality microphone to record those because the current microphone that I'm using is not acceptable in terms of quality. For me, it needs to be higher quality if I'm going to record a voiceover. And I am in a lot of debt from medicine stuff. So I have to pay off all of that first, and then I will get a microphone. So in the meantime, I thought this could be a fun little thing to do. But again, I don't know how much licensing the music would cost, at least the music that I'm thinking of. But we'll see. I think it'd be a cute little thing to have on the channel. I'm currently painting a portrait of him. He passed away a year ago. That's a wonderful gesture. See, if I'm going to do the ambience idea, oh here, I got to the end of my playlist, so here I can just play the other playlist that I'm talking about. Come on. There we go. But if I was going to add that playlist, then I would have to decide, am I gonna have like some sort of like train ambience, like the sound of the train moving and like the engine, the locomotive, because that's one of my favorite parts, and I'd have to decide if I include that. Here, I will. Yeah, it's a little bit. The title of this playlist is even like Gregorian chant. I'll skip ahead a little bit so you can hear it. So yeah, that's a little bit of the playlist that I'm thinking of. I'd have to reach out to this channel and ask if I can even license it, because I have no idea. And someone could record a tiny reading snippet. I was looking at the voice actors that you sent me, Vante. I still think it would be really cool to have someone read the prologue, like a professional voice actor read the prologue and have that up on the channel. I could read it, I guess, but I'm not a professional narrator or voice actor. I don't, and I don't have, even if I get a better microphone, it's not necessarily going to be of the quality that I would want, but I would have to I'd have to reach out to the voice actors and ask them what it would be to actually hang on. Let me see here. Because I don't the prologue is see my brain is moving faster than my words, and my brain is also not I'm crashing out. My brain isn't working. My words are trying to come out faster than my brain. I started trying to yap, but my brain can't keep up with that. Where's my word? There it is. What I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is that the prologue is not that many words. Let me see how many words it is. The prologue is 462 words. That is not that many words, so it probably wouldn't be horribly expensive to have a voice actor read. But there's another level to this. The music. I'm so glad you like it, Victoria. I really love here. I'm gonna skip in this playlist a little bit. I'm gonna skip to my favorite, one of my favorite songs in this playlist. Hold on. But yes, this is one of my favorite songs from the playlist. It just makes me think of Bronte. It's very gentle. I really love this one. Anyway, as I was saying, brain train. My brain train has derailed and needs to be pulled back to the station. But here's the other part of this that I need to be mindful of. If I post a video of the prologue being read aloud by a professional voice actor, then people may expect that I am going to have the entire novel narrated by said voice actor. And that would be creating unrealistic expectations, because I can't afford that. I couldn't afford it before my medical debt, but I definitely can't afford it now. So I want to be very mindful of what I post and what expectations that gives people. Um, I could, a lot of indie authors, um, indie, self-published, whatever you want to call them. A lot of indie authors will do Kickstarters or something for really expensive things like that. Um, but I don't really know if I can, in good conscience, do that just with the state of the world. um, so if I was to post the prologue being read aloud by the narrator, maybe I would do that and have it be an announcement of the Kickstarter for funding the audiobook. Maybe that's kind of my idea. Versus if I just read it myself, then it's just a little thing that I put on YouTube and that's it. Um, but we'll see. I kind of have to think on that a little bit. Take my money. Well, thank you. I'm very flattered that you like it enough to be willing to put money towards it. I do appreciate that and the support. But we'll see. Man, I think if I posted the prologue to YouTube, I would have to probably pay commercial rights to the voice actor too, even though it's just for YouTube. Ugh. There's all sorts of gobbledygook in there that I'd have to figure out for legal reasons based off of where I live and services rendered and all that fun stuff. But yeah, see, you can't see my layers, but you can see, yeah, I can move stuff around in the window. So it's basically all broken down and ready to be animated. Obviously, I would just clean the sketch up and make it look all nice first. It's actually a nice idea. It might be. I'm very, I don't know. See, I have my YouTube is at a level where I can start monetizing it. So I can start putting ads and everything on my YouTube. And I just don't want to do that. I hate ads on other stuff. And I want people to just be able to enjoy my work without that. So, I don't know. And I'm very fortunate that I have a day job that pays the bills and covers all that, so I don't have to monetize my YouTube channel or anything like that. If people want to support my work, they can, they can buy the book and read it and review it. And I'm very grateful for that. I don't want people to feel like they're getting nickel and dimed by the YouTube channel. So, we'll see. Maybe that can be a goal, but having the audiobook made would cost in the realm of $3,000, and that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to raise. So, we'll see. We'll tackle it. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I will give what I can. Well, thank you very, very much. Yeah, it could be a fun goal to work towards. And it's hard because I feel like I would need to. There's so much that I want to do. Like for example, I want to add a map to the book, but that's also about $2,000 to $3,000. So I have to pick and choose which ones I want to do. Do you write your letters by hand? Do I? Well, I very rarely write letters. But when I write letters to family and so on, and yes, I do write them by hand. That's not a regular occurrence. I maybe do a handwritten letter for Christmas and send it, but that's about it. I don't have any regular pen pals. I used to when I was younger, but not now. Everybody's too busy. I think you might be overthinking it a little. Me overthinking? Mm, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to overthink absolutely everything, but we'll see. It's for a good cause after all, so I think it's justifiable. Well, I will hope to make it worthwhile. That is my goal. You know what I just realized? If I do it from this side, you're gonna be on Cyril's bad side, which means you're gonna only be seeing his eye patch. You won't see his actual eye. Versus if I flip it, then you'll see his good eye. I'll have to think about which one I want to do. It doesn't really matter who's sitting in what chair, but with the wax seal stamp, yes, I have a little wax seal. It's the same stamp that I use for signed hardcovers of the book. I would say flip it. You agree? That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I just like Cyril's face, and I like people to be able to see it. I can relate, you're not alone. At the same time, his eye patch side is kind of mysterious, like you can't really see his face. So that could be a cool vibe. I noticed that the wax stamp is Cyril's S. Did you get the stamp seal custom made? Yes, I did. Eye patch sounds good to me. See? Luckily, luckily that's an easy change to make. Cause yeah, I don't know, the eye patch is kind of mysterious, and in the first chapter, you don't actually get either of the characters' names, so you don't know technically, quote unquote, who he is until chapter 2 when I start giving the characters names. This is just a vague silhouette, so it's not perfect, but it gets the idea down. He's concentrating very hard on that book. Because he's going a little stir crazy. And let's see where it is. Now, one of the things that I was thinking of, if it's going to be like a long looping animation with like the scenery going by outside and so on, is it'd be nice to have Sybil like look out the window for a little bit, or like drink a little bit of tea, or you know, something like that. So there will be little, if I do like the hour long or whatever. So if I do that, there will be little other animation frames kind of sprinkled throughout, but they're just a standard. I demand to see Cyril's beauty. Well, I don't know about beauty. That is so awesome. Thank you. I'm really happy that I was able to get it made. I do need better quality wax for melting, but I'll get some. I ran out of my really nice red wax, unfortunately, so I need to get more. Yes, that'd be cute. I love little Easter eggs like those. Okay, I'll keep this in mind. Try J Urban Wax. I will. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on. Do you guys want to know a cheeky little bit of behind the scenes uh, development? That's the word. I was going to say direction, but that's not the right word. A little bit of development behind the scenes regarding the chapter 1 train scene, because it went through several iterations before the final version that you read in the manuscript now. There were several changes that were made because there's a lot of information given to you as the reader in this first chapter. And one of the things that this chapter helped me to decide was that hunters from the church work in pairs. And usually the hunters have like one assigned person that they are partners with and they work together with. Like JL and Philip, who you meet, I believe, in chapter 2. JL and Philip are a hunter pair, so they always work together. Well, Cyril and Sybil can work together, but they're not assigned to one another. Cyril can be partnered up with a couple of different people and be a pretty effective pair because Cyril is like a mid-range fighter. So he can fight in very close quarters, or he can use his chain whip and have a little bit more range. Whereas Sybil, for example, has to use her lance, or her javelin, or her spear, or whatever you want to call it. She has to use her spear, so she has to be relatively close. So Cyril can partner with a couple different people. So that meant the person that I paired him with on the train changed a few times as I decided which character would be right for him to be paired with. Because I knew Cyril was going to be on the train. I knew it was important for the story that he be on the train and he hear kind of what's going on and figure out that the vampires are climbing aboard. But I went through a couple different versions, even back before nailing down some of the established lore with like the clerics and the hunters. And in the very, very earliest version, this lore no longer applies because I have, in the course of development, I have changed it. But in the very, very first drafts of Immolation, instead of the hunters being paired with another hunter, what it used to be is that each hunter was paired with one cleric. So in the very original version of the train scene, Cyril was actually paired with Benjamin, brother Benjamin, who is a cleric. And instead it was the two of them on the train. But that ended up being scrapped because the clerics do not, pardon my language, they do not fuck with the vampires. And because that lore changed, I had to then change who was on the train with Cyril for this scene, because it could no longer be Benjamin. So that's when I cycled through a couple different characters, and eventually Sybil was the right person. So that is your crispy little bit of behind the scenes development. And that was scrapped for several different reasons, but the primary reason is that clerics are pacifists. So they don't fight and they don't harm, quote unquote, vampires. Only hunters can do that. So it was out of place for, with that lore development of the clerics all being dedicated pacifists, it was out of place for Benjamin to be, quote unquote, out hunting with Cyril, because that's not something he would do as a cleric. It's not something the clerics do in general. So, a fun little bit of behind the scenes. Hunters aren't hey. Hunters aren't supposed to, but Cyril, the hunters remind me so much of the Knights Templar. That's a fun comparison. I haven't heard that one. I've heard some other comparisons, but not that one before. But yes, uh, you'll see a little bit more of Benjamin, quote unquote, in action. He doesn't hunt vampires because he's not a hunter, and he's not. He's a pacifist, so he doesn't fight to hurt people or anything like that. He'll defend himself if he absolutely has to, but he would really rather not. But you will get to see a little bit of Benjamin in action, and you'll get to see a little bit of why such a young man as Benjamin is already a bishop, which is a relatively prestigious role. Because yeah, he was very fun, and it was actually a lot of fun to um, have him on the train with Cyril. But that dynamic will come into play later in the story, anyways. So we'll still get to see it. It just won't be obviously in the train scene because that's already written. And then there were a couple of other drafts of the train scene that I went through, even once I had decided on Sybil being the hunter that he was paired with. And that had to do with deciding which weapon she was going to get, because I went through a couple of different options for her before settling on the spear. And the fight that happened there played out a couple of different ways. And one of the ways, well, it depends on how far you've read into Immolation if you know this, but I don't consider this to be a really big spoiler. It's a small piece of lore in the grand scheme of things. So I will say it, but if you don't want spoilers, you can just plug your ears for a second. But again, I don't think this is a big spoiler at all. It's a relatively minor thing. The hunter's weapons cannot harm people. They can't harm human beings, living humans. You find this out when Cyril makes a point to somebody later in the book, which is a very fun scene to write. Probably one of my favorite scenes to write in the whole book. But the summoned weapons, the ones that the hunters summon from their rosaries, like Sybil's spear, Philip's swords, Jael's bow and arrows, Cyril's chain whip. Maddock has gauntlets, which I don't think anyone's seen because no one's seen him fight yet, but he has gauntlets. All those weapons, they can't harm people. They only harm vampires. To the point that they won't even interact with a person. So if you're Philip and you're really annoyed at somebody and you have your summoned sword and you whap them with it, it's just gonna go right through them like it's nothing. Because it won't interact with anything that isn't a vampire. And what that means, and I didn't end up using this version, because here's what happened. As I was writing the train scene, originally it was Benjamin, then I adjusted the lore for clerics and hunters, so it changed. So now the character that's going to be with him is going to be Sybil, because I wanted the contrast of her being pretty kind and giving, and him being, no, absolutely not, just kill them. So I knew I wanted that dichotomy with two of them. So then I had to decide what weapon I was giving Sybil. And originally, Sybil had the bow and arrow, not JL. Because this was very early in development, before I had sorted out a bunch of lore and backstory and world building. So I was undecided on weapon. So Sybil had a bow and arrow. So in some ways, the role in the fight was originally swapped between Cyril and Sybil, where Cyril was fighting up close and Sybil was back a ways. And the way that it would play out in this original draft is that one of the vampires would be like grabbing on to Cyril, which is still kind of what happens in the final version. But what would happen is one of the vampires would be grabbing on to Cyril, and Sybil would shoot the vampire, and she would shoot through Cyril to hit the vampire, because she can shoot through him and it doesn't hit him because he's not a vampire. So she would shoot through him. And I was going to use that in the chapter 1 to explain the idea to the reader that there is no friendly fire, basically. The hunter's weapons can't hurt one another with them. They can't hurt a person. They can only hurt vampires. But all of that, again, that all changed. I felt like that was a little bit too much information to give right at the start. It was a little overwhelming. Obviously, the lore and the world building change. The bow and arrow being JL's preferred weapon is like a big part of her character now. And I didn't want these two hunters who are relatively primary characters. I didn't want them both to have the same weapon, so I knew JL had to get something different, and I changed everything. But when I changed it to have JL use the bow and arrows instead of Sybil, I thought, okay, I will take that scene of Sybil was originally the shooter, the archer. And I'm like, well, now JL's the archer. So now I can reuse that scene with her and Philip hunting a vampire, and JL shoots through Philip to get to the vampire. And so for a long time, that was in the manuscript. But I ended up changing that too, as you can tell. So now, the scene that explains that the hunter weapons cannot harm a person is in that scene with Cyril and somebody else, in case you have not read that far. I won't spoil who it is. But yes, that's just a small, that is all for one chapter. All of that is for one chapter of the book. And Immolation has, how many chapters? Immolation has like over 80 chapters. And that's the amount of development and planning and changes that have to go into a single chapter of Immolation. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because I love what I do and I love the story so much. But yeah, just to give you an idea of all the work that goes into it. But yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, but it is a lot. So that's why I babble every single time you ask me for a lore book. I'm like, God, no. There's so much. There's so much. 93, I think. I think so. I think you're right. I have the manuscript open. Uh, I have the manuscript open, but it's not the final version. Yeah, this is the cut draft. Where's the official? Clean copy from my editor. Yep, there we go. 93. I still want it. There's a lot of there's a lot. We're gonna get how many new characters are coming with Volume 2? Let me think. Um, at least 2 new characters. Sort of 3, maybe 4 total. Well, no, actually, I'm sorry, I lied. There's way more than that. There's at least 6 new characters. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm miscounting again. There's at least 7 new. There's at least 7 new characters coming with Volume 2. More people coming in, more opinions. So, it'll be very exciting. But yeah, there's 93 chapters, but originally, chapter 93, which is quite short, chapter 93 is 465 words. And that chapter originally, I titled it as the epilogue, but I decided to just make it chapter 93 instead of the epilogue. But we'll see. We have lots of new characters joining. Book 2, or rather Volume 2, will have a, what is it called? A dramatis personae, whatever the hell it's called, where it's going to give you a list of all the characters and who they are at the start of the book, so you can refer back to it if you're ever like, who the hell is this guy? Like, who's this? I met them 5 minutes ago. I don't remember who they are. And I'm gonna add that to Volume 1 as well. It'll be a second edition where I add that page at the beginning, because a couple of people have complained that it's hard to keep everyone straight. There's a big cast of characters, which there is. There is a big cast of characters. So that'll be added, and it'll be showing up in Volume 2. I would love to have a map and a dramatis personae, but I can't afford the map, so you get the dramatis personae though. And I am considering, I'm not sure, but I am considering changing the font that's used for the calligraphy in the book, because I'm using a Fractor font or typeface, which has letters that, if you are not familiar with it, don't look right for like an English, because it's like a German manuscript font. But the reason that I'm using that one is because, one, I liked how the title looked in that font, and I wanted to keep it consistent with the title and the actual font in the book. But also because it was free. I didn't have to pay to license it. And there's a different font that I really like, but unfortunately it's expensive to license. The S that I used on my my seal that I sent you, like Babel, that S is from the other font. I can just show you guys. Hold on. Hold please. I'll just pull it up. Because I have both fonts already installed on my machine. It's just that I cannot use the other font um, commercially. It's fine for personal use, but if I'm going to use it commercially, which using it for a book is commercial, um, I have to pay for a license. So I can just show you, and it's not a big deal, but I can't. Let's see. I love that font. I really love it too. I wasn't sure if it looked right on the cover of the book because I do like how the cover of the book looks. I like the font on the cover, but we'll see. I want to duplicate this. Come on. I'm gonna show you both fonts with the title, so with immolation, and then with like that sentence that I was using before. Oh, whoops, why are you doing that? Don't do that. I'm gonna put the whole alphabet in here actually, just so you can see. I'm working in another program, which is why you can't see it on my screen, but I will show you when it's done, I promise. some of the uppercase letters weren't super legible. Yeah, exactly. Because that's just part of the font, because it's technically like a German font. So yeah, it's known for that. And I was like bothered by it, but it was also free. So, and I really like the way the title looks. So I'm like, dang it, I don't know which one I want to use. Here, I just need to make the alphabets and then I can show you guys. Death Moon Dragon, good afternoon. Welcome in. How are you today? Dia, are you from England? No. No, I am an American, born and raised. To the detriment of my health and my bank account. Okay, here, I'm going to put this in. Here we go. All right. So the top, here, I'll put a little line between so you can tell. So the top is the font, or typeface, whatever you want to call it. The top is the one that requires a license to use commercially, so I'd have to pay to use it in the book. And the bottom one is free, and it's the one that I'm currently using because I really like the way the title looks. So I have to decide if I keep it or if I change it. There are other font options too, of course, but these are the ones that come to mind originally. The top one I actually planned to use for the pirate storyline for those books. I plan to use it for those, and for that reason I kind of wanted to keep Immolation separate and the pirate storyline separate. The pirate storyline, it doesn't have a official title yet, but it has a working title that I use for my documents. And the working title is Living Gale. So that is planned to be used for the Living Gale project, and the bottom font is for the Immolation project. It's been a bit, but stuff has been improving. Also pretty font. How have matters been going for you all? Well, welcome back. It is so good to see you. I'm glad this stuff has been improving for you. Honestly fair, both are beautiful in their own ways. I think so. I know that the bottom font with the letters that really don't look like English letters can be difficult, but I really love the title, especially for here, let me pull up. I've got like a little graphic of the book cover. Let me find it. I'm working on the cover for volume 2 as well, but it's not quite ready. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I was looking at the wrong folder, that's why. So there we go. So you can tell I really like the font for the title. I just think it looks so good. I don't really want to change it, even though the font in the written prose in the book itself it can get a little bit confusing. I really like how it looks. I think it strikes a really nice balance of, I don't know, like it's got just enough softness in it for immolation to fit this kind of dichotomy between Cyril and Bronte. It just, I don't know, it feels right versus this top font up here, which just, it feels so much more punchy in a way that I feel really fits the pirate storyline. Agree heavily, like the font itself, the title is way better with the old one, and the other fits the pirate aesthetic. Like here, let me, there's no oh, what's it called? There's no cover yet um for the pirate storyline, obviously. But if I just change, I know it's like not perfectly overlapping, but you know what? I'm determined. Come here. I'm gonna make this work. I'm not gonna make it work because this isn't the right letters, but whatever, it's close enough. So you can get the idea. Like, I just think that looks so cool. It's gonna look so great. I'd say, and it may be a little but put the title in a more readable font on the back perhaps. Not sure if that'd fix it, but something not, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I have a lot of brain fog because I'm adjusting to meds. Not sure if that'd fix it or something, but I agree with that. The top font feels like I'd seen it in Bloodborne, some Gothic compass. See the compass arrows, that's kind of why I really wanted it for the pirate storyline. Because it just it has like a certain age of exploration feel to it that I really, really like, and that fits the pirate storyline. And not to say that these are the only two options. I can definitely look for other fonts. Um, but the thought just came to my mind. And so here we are. See, now this is going to bother me. I really wanted to. Seamless. And don't even ask me what my font is for the secret project yet, because I haven't figured it out. I don't know yet. But yes, let me see. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't really have like a good enough draft of the cover for Volume 2 ready, or else I would show you. It's still really, it's gonna look very similar to Volume 1. Like let's see. It's gonna look very similar, but probably what I'm going to do, I'm still undecided and I still have time to work on it, but basically all of this, okay, wow, you cannot see that at all. Hold on. Make it a different color so you can see it a little easier. But basically all of this, like this whole top part, and this, and this, that's all going to stay the same. And the border, right? Like this border with the manuscript with the blood on it, that's gonna stay. What's going to change are the knights on the side. they're going to change. They're going to be different knights. And this illustration down here is going to change as well. There's going to be a different illustration filling that space. It's still going to be mirrored, it's still going to be symmetrical, but it's going to be a different illustration. And then I am currently undecided on whether or not this little lady here, if she's going to stay. I think she's going to stay because in my mind she kind of symbolizes Bronte, and for that reason I feel like she should stay. But I'm not entirely sure. But yes, basically these pieces are going to change. The knights and the illustration in that bottom corner. I played around with swapping out these angels for different angels, but I wasn't really feeling it, and I kind of like the space that they fill with the clouds. And if you're wondering why I'm like speaking about like specific options as if it's very rigid, it's because it is. Because I am using a public domain resource that I manually go into and I cut certain assets out of, and I upscale them and I use them for the cover. And to give you an idea, there we go. This is one of the pages from the book that I am using to create the assets for the cover. So if I want to use a particular illustration or drawing from this book, what I have to do is as I come in here, and you can, this is a very low resolution. I have high resolution scans of all of these, but I come in here and I have to cut out everything piece by piece, so on and so forth, until I get, you know, this whole thing, blah, 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 blah. So I have to cut all of that out, and then I can isolate it, upscale it to a higher resolution. It already comes in a higher resolution. This is one of the low resolution previews, but so this is where the illustrations come from. This is a let me look up the date. Hold on. I think it's from the 1800s. It's by John Bingley Garland. Yes, 1850. But yes, there's a bunch of these. There's several pages of the scrapbook is officially what it's called. So I go through and I look for pieces that I could cut out and use and kind of arrange them into the cover. So that means I don't have very much control over how each individual piece looks, because it's just whatever was illustrated back in 1850 and I'm just using it. So there's a lot of obviously Christian imagery in these, but there's lots of like snakes, lots of birds, there's lots of different religion iconography that pops up. Like there's a lot of Egyptian iconography that comes up, and like here, this is the one that I used previously. So this is the one that ended up being on the front cover for Immolation, Volume 1. You can see that there's like a bunch over here. So there's this one with these figures. There's this one as well. So there's a bunch of these that I just need to look at and decide which one I want to use. And then I'll have to go through the process of cutting it out and all of that. Honestly, why do folks in older centuries have cool ass? I know, it's so unfair. I'm like, dang, this guy sounds so cool. But yes, so that's where the assets for the cover come from. I've just gone through and I've isolated each piece and collaged them together because I wanted something that felt like, well, like an old manuscript, which is exactly what this is. I actually use this stuff in my website as well. Here, I'll just see if I can get like little screenshots of my website. There's a lot of floral motifs in there as well, which I really like. Like here, for example, this is just like a screenshot of the top of my website. And you can see it's very faint, but in the background, I have one of the manuscripts in the back. And if you open up the page for Immolation, you can see it in the background as well. And I use a different one for each book. Obviously, for the secret project, it's not really that accurate because the secret project has nothing to do with Immolation. But the one I picked it because it has like moths and flowers and stuff on it, so it was, you know, that's obviously the three fates with the threads. So I picked one that wasn't super like Christian religious imagery, that was a little bit more generic. But that's purely to keep the theme on my website. That's not because it particularly fits that project. And then if you look at the page for Volume 2 of Immolation, you can see that there's another page. How did you find it? All the illustrations fit so well. So I found it from a resource called the Public Domain Review, which shares a bunch of just assets that come into the public domain. Let me, if I have a, oh my gosh, getting out of my chair is really hard. Okay. Where did I put it? There we go. So public domain review, but then public domain review is not the owner, quote unquote, of the material. They just share it. They just share things that come into the public domain. If you look at the copyright page of my book, that's why I stood up, is to find my copy of the book. One of them. I have several. If you look at the copyright page of the book, I list out the cover And it says it's cited in the proper format. So it says Garland John Bingley, and it's technically Durenstein, 1854, scrapbook, courtesy of Harry Ransom Center, University of Texas at Austin, United States. I list their website, and then I state that it was edited by me because I have taken the material and I've I've changed it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I had to make sure I had to cite that properly, but it's technically in the collection of that university, and the public domain review just shared that that collection was in that university's museum. So that's where it is. That's where I found it. But because it's considered public domain, I'm able to use it for commercial purposes as long as I cite it. Well, I guess I didn't even technically have to cite it because it's public domain, but I cited it anyways because I feel like it's the right thing to do. But yes, I use public domain review for a lot of things. I can put a link in the chat. Let me do that real quick. So that's public domain review, and actually I use that as well for my super secret my other author website that's definitely not just me in a wig pretending to be a girl. I have another pen name that's for my romance novel, which is the one that Vante is currently beta reading for me. Thank you very much. And I used public domain review to find an owl illustration that I used for that website. I think I still have that asset saved. Let me see. Yep, there we go. So that's the little owl asset that I found, public domain. Just a little illustration. And just a little guy. So I used that and I created a little stamp asset based off of that. And then I fiddled with the colors and made a author website based off of that. Just so it has a separate place, because once the secret project is published, I'm going to remove it from my my Diastrefo website. I'm going to remove it from that. So the only place that you'd be able to like really go find it is on this other website. Because I want to direct people who read that genre over there, and people who read my normal work to just come over to my normal website. So I wonder if I have the actual asset that I created. Let's see. I'll just make a... Oh, there we go. Took up the whole screen anyways. Oops. There we go. It's a transparent PNG, so ignore how dark that little part that's overlapping is. But yeah, so that's a little asset that I made out of this little guy. So yeah, so that's on the other website that is going to be for those books instead. And yeah, and I don't have any. Um, well, the cover for um, which, oh God, if I'm gonna split that into two books, that means I'm gonna have to get another cover. Oh Lord. Um, but I still have the whip from the artist, which 50% of the artist is me because I did the lines. But a friend of mine is doing the painting. She's not online right now, but I can just look. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There we go. That's currently the state of the cover for the dark romance novel. And if I end up having to split that book, I'm gonna need a second cover, and I don't want to think about it. I know what I would do. It's really obvious what I should do, but I don't want to do it because it would be a lot of work. Uh, but we'll see. I might end up doing it. It's just I'm so behind. Like the dark romance is supposed to be was supposed to be done months ago, and is supposed to be done for 2025. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it by the end of 2025 with work and my health and just everything going on, but oh boy. Oh, I recall this piece. I'm very happy with it. I'm very grateful that my friend is painting it because I absolutely adore their painting. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, I don't. I want to release if the if it ends up being two books. I want to release them at the same time. I don't want them there to be downtime between the two. So I have to have everything done, which means having both covers done and all of that. And then there's the formatting, which is going to take me like a week to do. Um, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. At the same time, I'm trying to take 3 college classes and trying to work on animatics. I got that promotion, and it's just turning into such a nightmare. And if stuff happens, it happens. You have to prioritize yourself. Thank you very much. I'm really Vontae can kind of vouch for this, I'm sure. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I I'm really bad at giving myself downtime, which because of my health, I've been working very, very slow, which is very frustrating because I didn't used to work this slow. I used to be able to work at a pretty brisk pace that I was happy with. And because of my poor health, I've slowed down so much, and my way of dealing with that has just been to try to push myself harder because I feel so bad about taking so long, but I'm trying to be a little bit more comfortable with the idea of now that I have my meds again after fighting with healthcare for 2 years. Now that I have my meds and I'm adjusting to them again, and I'm no longer in the pain that I've been in, I'm like, I think it's reasonable to let myself heal a little bit, and then I can kind of dive into working as hard as I used to. But that's really hard for me to do, so we'll see. Please take it easy. We can wait. I don't know. It's fine. Slow down if needed. Focus on yourself. Thank you very much. I will be. I have so much I want to do. I I have videos I want to put up on YouTube. I have animatics I want to finish. I have books I want to write. There's a you didn't hear this from me. This is our little secret, okay? So shh, don't tell anybody. But there is a novella that is going to be coming out for the Immolation series, like a little separate novella. It'll come out after Volume 2 because read the you have to read Volume 2 and know what happens for the novella to make sense. But it's gonna happen. So there's more. I was showing here. I think I have the screenshot. Hold on. Hold that thought. I have a screenshot that I sent to Babel. So I have Obsidian and I have like a personal Discord server that's just me in it. And I put a bunch of my notes that I think of throughout the day and so on in there. But so in my personal Discord that only I am in, I have channels. And these are all of my current writing projects. I've censored them because they're spoilers in some ways. Because the novella for Immolation, the title of it alone is a little bit of a spoiler, so I've censored it. But yes, so Immolation series and Black Knight Shining is the dark romance, which is probably going to be 2 books. I already have so much on my reading list. The list! I need to get these bloody books. Well, if you do get them and you do read them, I hope you enjoy. I'm so far behind on all of my creative goals, but at the same time, I don't think I can accurately put into words just how much joy I get from writing these stories. So even though I'm exhausted and even though my health has kind of ruined me and I have to recover for who knows how long it's going to take, I'm really happy to be writing. But yes, technically, so I have these somewhat in order of how they'll be written. So obviously this is Immolation. This is the dark romance. That's probably going to be a duology. Immolation's going to be a trilogy. And then this one right here, you can see that it's 3 words. That's the novella for Immolation. And without giving you too much information, the novella is going to be told from a different point of view. For lack of a better word. It's going to be a particular character's point of view of certain events that happen in Volume 2. That's what I'll say. I'm very excited. I'd have to actually go back and look at what these other ones are, because even with them blurred, I don't remember. Oh, right, okay, so yeah. So, Immolation, the romance novels, This is the novella, and then down here, this one. That's the worst arrow I've ever drawn. But this one, that's the pirate storyline. So you can see kind of in what order I plan to write these. Let's see. These two, so that's the novella. This is the pirate storyline. That's going to be a series. I don't know how many books, but it's going to be a lot. Very, very story heavy. And then let's see here. This one is another romance, so that'll be under the other pen name. This one is probably, excuse me. Oh my goodness, this one is probably going to be like a cozy romance. That's kind of the vibe that I'm thinking I'm getting from it so far. And then these two, oops, these two this little guy with a question mark. Those two titles are about the lore of the wider world in which like Immolation and the pirate storyline take place in the same world. They're just alternate universe stories, right? So Cyril can't exist in multiple places. So it's the same world, so the same kind of laws and everything apply to like the world. And I mean laws in the sense of like cosmic laws, right? So like the way that the world works and the way that the countries are laid out and all of that, like the laws for like magic and how that works, they're all the same through these stories. It's just that the characters are usually different versions of themselves. So those two are stories from the wider world that have particularly this one, the second one, particularly that one is really lore heavy in a what the fuck kind of way. Pardon my language. That's the only way that I can describe it. And then these last two, this one, current in its current state, it might change because these are so far down in the list that they're the least developed so far. So this one is probably going to be a novella that is relevant to this one. Probably. It could change. I don't know for sure. It could change, maybe not. And then this one is probably going to be another romance. So those are the current projects that I at least have working titles for. And they have at least some amount of work done on them. Oh hell yes, lore. I'm so excited to share lore with you guys. It's just I'm having so much fun writing all this stuff. I know I work slow, and I really hope it's gonna be worth the wait. But so where is the world lore book on this list? I don't think you could pay me enough. One of these days, I will show you guys my Obsidian notes, because I've basically created like a little Wikipedia article for myself that's just like the church lore, and that's just one small part. And it's already 1:30, so I already probably need to get going so I can get back to work, ironically. But before I go, because I said this on one of my I think it was my very last stream before I kind of took that break because I was going to be traveling. I said that I might have some art of a character you have not seen before, if you would be interested in seeing a character you've never seen before. So, if you're interested, I can show you a sneak peek of said character. Some of you have already seen him. I'm looking at you, Babel. Babel has seen him. But other than that, I don't think anyone else has seen him. So if you are interested, you can see one of the characters that is not. You're not going to meet this character in Immolation. But he is a very important character in the wider world. God damn it. Poor Babel. You see this stuff earlier. So okay, hold on. Let me find the image. Let me find the canvas rather. Here. You guys are gonna have to look at here. Look at that screen while I find look at that screen while I find the canvas for this guy. Technically, you don't meet this character in Immolation. Technically, he is very, very tangentially involved, but also not very much. But he is a very important and very powerful character in the wider world. But Vante's probably going to meet him. Depending on how far Vante reads through the secret project. Okay, here we go. This should be him. There we go. Here is your sneak peek at one of the characters from the wider world. And yes, he is one of the baddies. You can hear my Vexento outro music, so you know I'm going to be wrapping it up. I love him. He's very fun. He's a very different design, and his lore is really, really cool. He is affectionately a little shit. But yes, he doesn't get involved directly in any way. Well, okay, that's not technically accurate. You won't see him in Immolation. But he technically is tangentially involved, technically, in some ways. So. But Vante's probably gonna meet him relatively soon. He's so cool, a bit scary. This is the fun thing of randomly popping in, you get all the tea. Well, I'm so glad you could make it just in time to hear me yap. I'm back from a little bit of a break because I missed I stream every, oh my good lord, I stream every other week, and I missed my last stream because I was traveling, so I've been away for a while, and I'm so glad you could make it. So yes, this is one of the baddies of the wider world. I love him very much. His lore is pretty spicy. And hopefully, if you end up reading him, depending on if you read the Secret Project / Black Knight Shining, where he does show up, if you do end up reading that, hopefully you like him. Obviously, this is just a sketch of him, so his design, like those tattoos on his chest, I'm still not really sure about how I'm gonna lay those out. Having to write a whole fictional alphabet is like, ooh, that's a big commitment. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, but we'll see. But I'm very happy with him. Hopefully, he's a lot of fun. He's very I don't know what the right word would be. He's very playful in a sense, which is just a trope of villain that I have a lot of fun with. Because Cyril in the pirate storyline is actually also very playful. So it's just a fun he's just a fun little well, he's not little, he's a fun little guy. But yes, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys had fun. Thank you so much for joining me. It was really good to stream again. Hopefully I will catch you next time. I stream, as I said, every other Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope you can make it. I'd love to have you here. Thank you very much for your support, and I will see you guys next time.